What if improving your mindset could instantly boost your confidence in every social interaction? It's the core of what we call inner game. It's the simple shift that changes everything, especially if you've ever felt awkward around women. I'll reveal the single most powerful conversational secret, a way to stop being boring forever by making the other person feel absolutely fascinating. Stay with me because this isn't about lines or tricks. It's about a fundamental rewiring. The problem is things don't seem to be working because you're trapped in your own head. You don't see reality as it actually is. You're looking at the world through a dirty lens, a lens smudged with every past rejection, every past hurt, every failure, every single one of your insecurities. It's this lens that stops you from forming meaningful connections. Instead of seeing things clearly, you see them through this filter of accumulated crap, and it's paralyzing. You get so stuck in your head, ruminating on things, letting ideas circle and percolate, that you attach massive meaning to situations that are barely worth a second thought. This is the consequence of being trapped in your own head. It prevents you from revealing your true self. The solution isn't to put on a new personality, but to start clearing away all the past hurts and insecurities that are smudging your perception. The real work is to finally clean the lens so you can see things clearly. The first strategic shift is this: stop trying to prevent rejection and start building emotional resilience to recover from it quickly. This is crucial. When you're insecure, your entire focus is on preventing bad feelings. You avoid situations, you don't take risks, you try to control outcomes to prevent getting hurt. But that's a losing game. The focus has to shift from prevention to recovery. Think about getting ghosted. You take it personally, right? But the reality is that other people have their own considerations. It's often not about you. It's about them avoiding a difficult conversation because they have no idea how you'll react. Once you understand this, the sting starts to fade. The real growth happens when you get what I call muscle memory for these situations. Once you've been shot down 3 or 4 times or dumped a few times, you start to develop an emotional callus. You just don't feel it in the same raw way anymore. At that point, your internal dialogue changes from, how do I stop this from happening again, to, okay, I tried. It didn't turn out how I hoped. Let's try again. You just heal from it, quickly recover, and move on. It is that simple. This is resilience and is the foundation of real confidence. The second shift follows directly from the first. Stop competing in the sucker game of dating apps and go out into the real world where your authentic presence is your greatest advantage. I'll be blunt: unless you're 6 foot tall, make the big bucks, or look like a movie star, the apps are designed for you to lose. It's like trying to win at a casino roulette wheel. I heard a sobering statistic that 87% of men in the US are under 6 feet tall, yet it's one of the most common filters women use. You're disqualified before you even take your first step. Back in the day, a pretty girl dated locally from the guys around her. Now, that same girl has 5,700 DMs from every other dude on earth. You can't compete with that, and you shouldn't want to. So, what's the answer? You cut out the dating app runaround. You go out into the real world in person, go to the gym, the coffee shop, a baseball game, strike up a conversation with the clerk just buying candy at a gas station. That's real. When you do that, her synapses are firing because you are directly in front of her. She's not robotically swiping on a profile. She's experiencing a human being. The funny thing is, the whole field is wide open right now. If you listen to social media, it's flooded with women saying, "You are. Men don't approach us anymore. They are starved for genuine in person attention. Now is your chance." This isn't about effort. It's about just getting out, getting amongst people, and being social. This brings us to the third and most powerful shift: the reveal. To stop being boring, you have to stop talking about yourself. Instead, become a master at making the other person feel fascinating. So many guys get this backward. They feel like they're boring, so they desperately try to think of interesting things to say about themselves. But inner game finds validation internally, not externally. Here's the secret: most women are bored. Their life is taking care of crap and going to work, which is its own form of crap. It can be unfulfilling. If you come along and make someone feel better, even in the slightest way, they will want you to stick around. You do this by becoming an interviewer, but not a 20 questions guy. You become an introspective questions guy. Ask a leading question, then shut up and listen. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Just listen to her response. If she says something that requires clarification, you ask a follow up. What does that mean? Or how does that make you feel? A famous marketer once did this in a hotel bar, just asking a man clarifying questions for an hour as they sipped cognac. Afterward, the man told him he'd just had a conversation with the most interesting person he'd ever met. You can think of it as a trick, but it's a trick that works because it shows genuine curiosity and builds deep rapport. When you have this kind of conversation with a woman, you're pushing her emotional buttons, making her feel seen and heard. That skill is more attractive than any job title or bank account. So let's bring it all together. This is the final premise. True attractiveness doesn't come from external validation, not your money, your looks, or your status. It comes from building an inherently cool inner self that you are confident in. When you stop fearing rejection, you build resilience. With that resilience, you have the courage to engage in the real world instead of the online dating casino. And in the real world, you can use your conversational skills to create a genuine connection, not by talking about yourself, but by being fascinated by others. This entire process builds your house on rock, not on sand. You stop asking other people for approval. You become an authentic person. You realize you are not what you do or where you went to school or whatever you're into. You are who you are. And when you finally own that, things just get way easier. This channel isn't just for fascinating insight. My goal here is to form a community for authentic growth, a place where we can be among friends, all trying to make ourselves better, to improve our interactions, and to build that solid foundation. Because when you feel better about yourself, everything in your life gets better. So, if this resonates, I want you to be part of what we're building. Subscribe and show up for the live streams to share your story. And let's start the conversation right now in the comments. What's the best or worst advice you've ever received about being yourself?